The breaking point. The Galactic Union had existed for 8 million years. It was older than most stars in the local cluster, older than the civilizations that built it. In all that time, it had maintained what it called peace. 3,000 species lived under its authority. They followed its laws. They respected its traditions. They settled their disputes through endless committees and diplomatic channels that could take decades to reach a conclusion. Peace, the Union called it. But there were other words for what it really was. Commander Elias Stone stood in the observation deck of the orbital station above New Terra, staring at the emergency broadcast that had just come through. His hands gripped the railing, so hard his knuckles turned white. Behind him, his crew watched in silence. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. They just listened to the voice that came through the speakers, growing weaker with each word. This is Colony Director Chun of Outpost Meridian. We are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack. Zarkonian warships have entered our system without warning. They are firing on civilian structures. Our shields are failing. We have women and children here. We have families. Please, if anyone can hear this transmission, we need immediate assistance. We need. The transmission ended in static. Then silence. Terrible, crushing silence. Elias released the railing and turned to face his crew. 20 faces looked back at him. Some were young, fresh from the academy. Others were veterans who had served humanity's defense forces for decades. All of them wore the same expression. Shock, grief, and something else. Something that burned behind their eyes like a flame that had just been lit. How many? Elias asked quietly. His communications officer checked her console. Her voice shook when she answered. Initial reports indicate 50,000 colonists on Outpost Meridian. There are 4 other mining colonies in the Outer Reach sector. Total population approximately 200,000. 50,000 dead, maybe more by now. 50,000 people who had left Earth to build new lives among the stars. Farmers, engineers, teachers, children who had never even seen their homeworld, all gone in a matter of minutes. Have we received any response from the Galactic Union? Elias asked. Yes, sir. His officer pulled up the official message. The Union Security Council has issued a statement expressing deep concern over the incident. They are calling for an immediate ceasefire and are requesting both parties submit to binding arbitration. They estimate the arbitration process will begin in approximately 6 standard months. 6 months. The words hung in the air like poison. In 6 months, the Zarkonians could wipe out every human colony in the Outer Reach. They could kill hundreds of thousands more, and the Union would still be scheduling committee meetings. Elias had been in the service for 30 years. He had trained in diplomacy. He understood the importance of following proper channels. He knew that humanity was new to the galactic stage. They were supposed to be grateful for their probationary membership in the Union. They were supposed to play by the rules. But 50,000 of his people were dead, and the rules had done nothing to protect them. Give me Admiral Cross, he said. The communication took 3 minutes to connect. When Admiral Catherine Cross appeared on the screen, Elias could see that she had already heard the news. Her face was carved from stone. Her eyes were the coldest thing in the universe. Admiral Cross had been born on Mars during the Colony Wars. She had fought in the Titan Uprising. She had commanded Earth's first deep space fleet. She was 68 years old, and she had spent her entire life preparing humanity for the moment when the galaxy showed its true face. That moment had arrived. Commander Stone, she said. Her voice was steady. Calm. The kind of calm that comes before a storm. I assume you are calling to request permission to respond to the attack on Outpost Meridian. Yes, Admiral. The crew of the Churchill is ready to deploy. We can reach the Outer Reach sector in 48 hours. You are not the only one. Cross pulled up a tactical display. Red dots appeared across the screen, each one representing a ship of Earth's United Defense Fleet. I have received similar requests from 63 other commanders. Every available vessel wants to move immediately. What are your orders, Admiral? Cross was silent for a moment. Behind her, Elias could see the command center of Earth's military headquarters. Officers moved between stations. Screens displayed tactical data. Communications chatter filled the air. Everyone was waiting for the decision that would change everything. The Galactic Union has ordered us to stand down, Cross said finally. They have invoked Article 7 of the Membership Charter, which prohibits probationary species from engaging in military action without Security Council approval. Elias felt his stomach drop. Admiral, with respect, we cannot simply. I am not finished, Commander. Cross leaned forward. Something in her expression made Elias stop talking. The Union has given us a direct order. They expect us to obey. They expect us to wait patiently while they schedule meetings and draft resolutions. They expect us to be good little children who know their place. She paused. When she spoke again, her voice was different, harder, filled with something that sounded like control fury. Tell me, Commander Stone, did you join Earth's defense fleet to follow orders from bureaucrats who have never fired a shot in anger? Or did you join to protect humanity? Elias understood immediately. This was not really a question. It was a test, a line being drawn. On one side stood the old order, the ancient rules, the careful diplomacy that prioritized peace over justice. On the other side stood something humanity had always been good at, standing up when everyone else told them to sit down. I joined to protect humanity, Admiral. Good. Cross smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. It was a smile of a predator that had just decided to stop hiding. Then here are your orders, Commander. You will take the Churchill and rendezvous with Battle Group Theta at coordinates I am transmitting now. You'll proceed to the outer reach sector at maximum speed. When you arrive, you will locate and engage all Zarkonian military vessels in the region. You will not stop until every last ship that participated in the attack on our colonies has been destroyed or surrendered. The Union will protest, Admiral. They may even threaten sanctions. Let them protest. Let them threaten. We are done asking permission to defend our own people. Cross pulled up another screen. I am issuing the same orders to every fleet commander in range. Within the hour, 200 ships will be moving towards Zarkonian space. This is not a police action. Commander, this is not a peacekeeping mission. This is war. The word hung between them. War, the thing the Galactic Union had supposedly eliminated 8 million years ago. The thing that was not supposed to happen anymore. The thing that humanity was about to bring back to a galaxy that had forgotten what it meant. I need you to understand something, Cross continued. When we do this, there is no going back. The Union will condemn us. Other species will call us warmongers. They will say we are too violent, too aggressive, too dangerous to be part of civilized society. They may even try to force us back to our own system. Are you prepared for that? Elias thought about the families on Outpost Meridian. He thought about the children who had died screaming. He thought about the Galactic Union's 6-month arbitration process. He thought about what it meant to be human in a galaxy that valued order over justice. Yes, Admiral, I am prepared. Then get your ship moving. Commander, we have a war to start. The transmission ended. Elias turned to his crew. They had heard everything. They knew what was coming. They knew that when they left the station, they would be defying the most powerful governmental body in the galaxy. They knew that Earth's reputation, its standing in galactic society, its very future among the stars, might depend on what happened next. Nobody objected. Nobody questioned. They simply moved to their stations and began preparing the Churchill for departure. Within 30 minutes, the ship was underway. Within an hour, they had rendezvoused with Battle Group Theta. Within 6 hours, 200 human warships were crossing into Zarkonian space, ignoring every communication from the Galactic Union, demanding that they stop. The galaxy watched in shock. For 8 million years, the rules had been clear. You did not take military action without permission. You did not challenge the established order. You did not start wars. Humanity had just broken every rule that mattered. The Zarkonian Empire had not expected resistance. They had attacked human colonies because humans were weak, new, and unprotected. The Galactic Union would issue statements. There would be diplomatic consequences eventually, but by then, the colonies would be gone, and the Zarkonians would have secured valuable mining resources in the outer reach. It was a calculation they had made many times before with other species. It always worked the same way. Except humanity did not follow the pattern. Commander Elias Stone stood on the bridge of the Churchill as his battle group entered the Meridian system. The Zarkonian fleet was still there, still in orbit around the shattered remains of the human colony. 12 massive warships, each one 3 times the size of the Churchill. They had not bothered to leave. Why would they? Nobody was going to stop them. All ships battle stations. Elias ordered, weapons free. Target priority is any vessel that participated in the attack on civilian structures. His tactical officer highlighted 9 of the 12 Zarkonian ships. These vessels match the energy signatures from the colony bombardment, sir. Then they die first. The human fleet attacked without warning, without demands for surrender, without any of the ceremonial communications that typically preceded military engagements in galactic warfare. They simply opened fire with everything they had. The Zarkonians were not prepared for this. In their thousands of years of conquest, they had never faced an enemy that attacked with such immediate, overwhelming fury. Human ships moved in patterns that made no sense according to traditional naval doctrine. They broke formation. They scattered. They attacked from 6 different angles at once. And they did not stop. The first Zarkonian warship exploded within 90 seconds of engagement. The second followed 30 seconds later. By the time the Zarkonian commander realized what was happening and ordered his fleet to return fire, 4 of his ships were gone. Their shields are adapting. The Churchill's tactical officer reported, "Our weapons are becoming less effective. Switch to kinetic rounds." Elias ordered, "If energy weapons won't work, we will use rocks." The human ships adjusted their tactics immediately. Railguns fired solid projectiles at relativistic speeds. Missiles with conventional warheads slammed into Zarkonian hulls. It was crude. It was primitive. It was also devastatingly effective. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it ended, all 9 Zarkonian warships that had bombarded the colony were destroyed. The remaining 3 had surrendered. Elias had their crews transferred to containment vessels. They would stand trial. Eventually, "Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the Galactic Union," his communications officer said. "It is marked as highest priority. They are demanding that we—" "I don't care what they're demanding," Elias interrupted. "Send them a response. Tell them we will discuss terms after every Zarkonian vessel responsible for attacking our people has been dealt with. Until then, we are busy." "Sir, I don't think." "Just send it." The message went out. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Union Security Council watched in disbelief as humanity not only ignored their orders, but openly declared their intention to continue military operations. Emergency sessions were called. Ambassadors rushed to their posts. Ancient protocols were invoked. The Union had maintained peace for 8 million years. They had rules. They had procedures. They had the authority of 3,000 species behind them. And one young, aggressive, impossibly stubborn species was telling them that none of it mattered. Admiral Catherine Cross sat in her command center on Earth, watching the tactical displays as her fleet spread across the Outer Reach sector. Reports came in constantly. Zarkonian ships destroyed. Colonies liberated. Human forces advancing deeper into enemy territory. "Admiral, the Union is threatening to impose sanctions," one of her aides reported. "They are also considering the deployment of enforcement fleets to contain our military operations." "Let them try," Cross said quietly. "Admiral, if they send their enforcement fleets, then we will see how committed they are to their precious peace." Cross pulled up a new set of coordinates. "Have Battle Group Sigma move to these positions. If the Union wants to stop us, they will have to go through us." Her aide looked worried. "You are talking about potential conflict with the Galactic Union itself." "No, I am talking about showing them that humanity will not bow to threats. We have been attacked. Our people have been killed. We will respond, and we will not ask permission." She turned to face her command staff. Every eye in the room was on her. For 8 million years, the galaxy has operated under one simple rule. The strong do what they want, and the weak submit. The Galactic Union maintains order by ensuring that everyone stays in their assigned place. We are supposed to be grateful for the scraps they give us. Crosswalk to the large display showing Earth and its colonies. But we are human. We don't ask for permission. We don't wait for others to save us. When someone threatens our people, we respond. Not in 6 months. Not after arbitration. Now. She pointed to the tactical map. Those ships out there, those men and women fighting the outer reach, they are not just defending colonies. They are declaring to the entire galaxy that humanity will not accept injustice simply because it is convenient for everyone else. The Union will never forgive us for this, someone said. Cross smiled. I am counting on it. Warmed up and ready. 3 weeks after the Battle of Meridian, the Galactic Union convened an emergency session that would be remembered for the next 1,000,000 years. Representatives from 3,000 species filled the great assembly hall on Unity Station. Some had been members of the Union since its founding. Others had joined only centuries ago. All of them shared one common belief. The rules were absolute. The system worked. Peace must be maintained at any cost. High Chancellor Vorn stood at the central podium, his crystalline form refracting light in patterns that conveyed deep concern. He was a Lemurian, a species that had helped establish the Union 8 million years ago. He had personally overseen 5,000 arbitration processes. He had never, in his 3,000-year life, witnessed anything like what was happening now. The human military has now destroyed 47 Zarkonian vessels, he announced. His voice resonated through translation devices in every language spoken in the galaxy. They have occupied 6 Zarkonian military installations. They have liberated 3 conquered worlds. And they continue to ignore every communication from this council, demanding that they cease hostilities immediately. Murmurs spread through the assembly. Some species expressed shock. Others spoke of outrage. A few remained silent, watching with interest. This cannot stand, continued Chancellor Vorn. The humans are probationary members. They have no authority to wage war without our approval. They are violating the fundamental principles upon which this union was built. Ambassador the loss of the Corvian hierarchy stood. His species had been part of the union for 2 million years. They understood how things worked. High Chancellor, I propose immediate sanctions against Earth. Cut off their trade routes. Revoke their probationary status. If they will not follow our rules, they have no place among civilized species. Many voices rose in agreement, but then another voice cut through the noise. And what of the Zarkonians? The assembly fell silent. The speaker was Ambassador Arwhite of the Talvari people. Her species was young by galactic standards, only 50,000 years old. They had been conquered by the Zarkonians 3 centuries ago, and had spent 200 years as slaves before the Union finally negotiated their release. Chancellor Vorn's light patterns shifted to indicate confusion. Ambassador Arwhite, this session is about human aggression, not... Not what? Arwhite's voice was sharp. Not about the species that attacked a civilian population without provocation. Not about the empire that has been raiding and conquering for the past 5,000 years while this council issued statements of concern. She stepped forward. Around her, other ambassadors from younger species began to stand. Species that had suffered under Zarkonian aggression. Species that had begged the Union for help and been told to be patient. The humans lost 50,000 people in a single attack. Arwhite continued. 50,000 civilians murdered while this council debated proper procedures. They asked for help. They received words. So they helped themselves. And now you want to punish them for refusing to die quietly. The process takes time, Chancellor Vorn said stiffly. We must consider all perspectives. We must ensure that justice is fair and balanced. Justice. Arwhite's laugh was bitter. My people spent 200 years in chains while your process worked. 200 years of slavery while you consider perspectives. The humans spent 3 weeks freeing worlds that you have ignored for centuries. Tell me, High Chancellor, which approach served justice better? The assembly erupted in arguments. The older species defended the system. The younger species questioned it. And somewhere in the middle, A fault line that had existed for millions of years began to crack. While the Union argued, Admiral Catherine Cross sat in a command briefing with her senior officers. The holographic display showed Zarkonian territory, lighting up with human fleet movements. But Cross was not looking at enemy positions. She was looking at something else. Something that changed everything. "Confirm these reports," she said. Captain Sarah Martinez pulled up the data. She was young, only 32, but she had proven herself in every engagement since Meridian. "Confirmed, Admiral. When we liberated Talver 4, we found more than just Talvari slaves. There were Kindari, Savathi, Meren, at least 6 species being held in forced labor camps. And they all want to fight." "Yes, ma'am. The Talvari have already provided us with intelligence on Zarkonian supply routes. The Kindari know the locations of hidden military bases. They want to help us." Cross studied the map. This was bigger than revenge for Meridian now. This was bigger than defending human colonies. This was about something the Galactic Union had forgotten how to do, actually helping people who needed it. "What is our current strength?" she asked. 237 combat vessels operational. Another 80 in various stages of repair. We have inflicted significant damage on Zarkonian military capacity, but they still outnumber us 4-1. Then we need be smarter. Cross zoomed in on a specific sector. The Zarkonians rely on automated defense platforms in their core systems. Heavy shielding, powerful weapons, but minimal crew. They assume Noah will be crazy enough to attack their home territory. Martinez smiled. "You want to go after Zarkon Prime. I want to end this war before the Union decides to get involved in a more direct way. If we can force the Zarkonian High Command to surrender, we can achieve our objective and start negotiating from a position of strength. The Union will never forgive us for this." "Good." Cross closed the tactical display. "I am tired of asking for forgiveness. It is time they learn to ask for ours." The attack on Zarkon Prime took 2 months to prepare. Admiral Cross assembled the largest human fleet ever created. 300 ships supported by volunteer vessels from freed species. They trained together. They planned together. They became something that had not existed in the galaxy for millions of years. An alliance based on shared purpose rather than mandated cooperation. When they finally moved, the galaxy watched in amazement. Human ships jumped into Zarkonian space, using routes provided by Talvari navigators. They struck at supply depots identified by Kindari intelligence. They disabled defense platforms using tactics developed through cooperation between 5 different species. The Zarkonian High Command had never faced anything like this. For thousands of years, they had fought enemies who followed predictable patterns. Species would defend their territory. They would engage in formal battles. They would eventually surrender when the cost became too high. Humans did not defend. They attacked. They did not engage in formal battles. They hit supply lines, communication hubs, and command centers. They did not calculate acceptable losses. They adapted, improvised, and kept coming. Within 6 weeks, human forces reached the outer defenses of Zarkon Prime. The Zarkonian homeworld had never been threatened in its entire history. It was protected by orbital fortresses, automated weapon platforms, and a defense fleet of 500 vessels. Admiral Cross looked at those defenses and smiled. All ships execute Plan Chaos. The human fleet scattered. Every ship went in a different direction. The Zarkonian defense fleet tried to respond, but they could not predict where the next attack would come from. Human vessels appeared, fired, and vanished. Missiles came from unexpected angles. Electronic warfare systems disrupted communications. Kinetic strikes hammered defense platforms from maximum range. It was not elegant. It was not the kind of warfare taught in military academies across the galaxy. It was messy, unpredictable, and absolutely terrifying to fight against. The Battle of Zarkon Prime lasted 9 days. When it ended, the orbital defenses were crippled. The defense fleet was scattered. And Admiral Cross brought her flagship, the Indomitable, into orbit directly above the Zarkonian capital city. She opened a transmission to the Zarkonian High Command. Her face appeared on every screen in the city below. Billions of Zarkonians saw the human admiral for the first time. They saw her gray hair, her lined face, her eyes that had witnessed too much death. And they saw something else. They saw someone who would not stop. "This is Admiral Catherine Cross of the United Earth Defense Fleet," she said. Her voice was calm. "Matter of fact, your military has been defeated. Your defenses have fallen. I now have sufficient firepower in orbit to level every major city on this planet." Below, Zarkonian leaders rushed to their emergency bunkers. Citizens ran through streets in panic. For the first time in their long history of conquest, they understood what it felt like to be helpless. However, Cross continued, "I did not come here to commit genocide. I came here for justice. You will surrender immediately. Your high command will stand trial for crimes against sapient species. Your military will disarm. Every world you have conquered will be freed. Every slave you have taken will be returned." She leaned forward. "These terms are non-negotiable. You have 6 hours to respond. If you refuse, I will begin targeting military installations, then government buildings, then industrial centers. I will continue until you surrender or until there is nothing left worth surrendering. You cannot do this." The Zarkonian Supreme Commander appeared on screen. His scales were pale with fear. "The Galactic Union will never allow such brutality. They will stop you." "The Galactic Union had 8 million years to stop you," Cross replied. "They chose not to. We are stopping you now. 6 hours." The transmission ended. Cross turned to her crew. "Captain Martinez, status of the Union Enforcement Fleet?" "They are 2 days out, Admiral. 300 vessels under the command of Chancellor Vorn himself. 2 days. Plenty of time." Cross pulled up tactical displays, showing Zarkon Prime below. "We wait. If the Zarkonians surrender, we take their high command into custody and prepare for negotiations. If they do not surrender, we do exactly what I promise. And when the Union arrives, then we see if they are willing to start a war to protect slavers and murderers." For hours later, the Zarkonian High Command surrendered. They had no choice. Their military was broken. Their people were terrified. And the human fleet in orbit was not bluffing. Admiral Cross personally oversaw the transfer of prisoners. Zarkonian leaders were taken aboard human vessels. Files documenting their crimes were secured. Evidence of slavery, genocide, and conquest spanning 5,000 years was compiled and prepared for presentation. When the Galactic Union Enforcement Fleet arrived 2 days later, they found human ships in perfect formation around Zarkon Prime. No hostilities, no chaos, just a fleet maintaining order in orbit around a conquered world. Chancellor Vorn's face appeared on Admiral Cross's screen. He looked tired, defeated. "Admiral Cross, you have violated every law we hold sacred. You have waged war without authorization. You have conquered a sovereign world. We have done what you should have done 1,000 years ago," Cross interrupted. "We have stopped an empire built on murder and slavery. We have freed 6 species from bondage. We have brought war criminals to justice. And we did it in 8 weeks. How long has your arbitration process been running? We have rules for a reason. Yes, to maintain order, to preserve stability, to ensure that nothing ever changes." Cross stood. Behind her, the bridge crew of the Indomitable worked silently. "But your order was built on the suffering of species you considered too small to matter. Your stability required that the weak accept their fate. Your rules protected the strong and abandoned everyone else." She walked toward the screen. "We are human, Chancellor. We do not accept that the strong should prey on the weak. We do not believe that peace built on injustice is worth maintaining. And we will not apologize for refusing to watch our people die while you schedule committee meetings. You cannot simply ignore our authority. Watch us." Behind Chancellor Vorn, the Union Enforcement Fleet waited. 300 ships, representing dozens of species, all united under the authority of the Galactic Union. They could attack. They could try to force humanity back. They could start a war that would shatter 8 million years of peace. But then something unexpected happened. A ship detached from the Union fleet. It was Talvari. Then another. Gundeti. Then 6 more. Species that had been enslaved. Species that had begged for help. Species that had watched the humans do in 8 weeks what the Union had failed to do in millennia. They moved slowly across space and took positions alongside the human fleet. This is Ambassador R. of the Talvari Confederation. A voice came over open channels. We stand with humanity. If the Union wishes to punish those who fought for justice, they will have to go through us as well. More ships followed. Some were from young species. Others were from civilizations that had suffered under Zarkonian rule. Within an hour, the Union enforcement fleet had lost nearly a third of its vessels. Chancellor Vorn stared at the defecting ships in disbelief. This was impossible. Species did not simply leave the Union. They did not choose sides. They followed the rules. Admiral Cross, he said finally. His voice had changed. The authority was gone, replaced by something that sounded almost like exhaustion. What do you want? Justice, Cross replied simply. Real justice. Not arbitration that takes years and accomplishes nothing. Not statements of concern. Real accountability for real crimes. And if we cannot provide that, then we will. Cross gestured to the ships around her. We and everyone else who is tired of watching the powerful escape consequences. You can work with us, or you can watch as the galaxy changes without you. Your choice. The standoff lasted 3 more days. During that time, delegations arrived from across the galaxy. Some supported the Union. Others supported humanity. Arguments raged in assembly halls and command centers. But slowly, inevitably, a new reality emerged. The old order had cracked. The rules that had governed the galaxy for 8 million years were being rewritten. And at the center of it all stood humanity, refusing to back down, refusing to apologize, refusing to accept that justice should wait for anyone's convenience. On the 4th day, Chancellor Vorn returned to Admiral Cross with a proposal. The Union would not recognize humanity's actions as legitimate, but they would not intervene either. The Zarkonian High Command would stand trial in a neutral court with representatives from both the Union and the new coalition. The enslaved species would be freed. Reparations would be discussed. It was not everything Cross wanted, but it was more than the galaxy had seen in millions of years. It was a start. We accept your proposal, Cross said. But understand this, Chancellor. We did not fight this war for recognition. We fought it because it was right. And if something like this happens again, if another species attacks innocent people while your Union debates proper procedure, we will respond the same way. You would risk war with the entire Union? Cross smiled. It was a tired smile. The smile of someone who had spent 2 months fighting battles and making impossible decisions. Chancellor, I think you misunderstand. We are not threatening war. We are promising justice. There is a difference. She closed the transmission. Around her, the crew of Indomitable began securing from battle stations. The war was over. The galaxy would never be the same. 6 months later, Admiral Catherine Cross stood before the United Earth Council to provide her final report. The war had cost humanity 2,000 lives, 47 ships, resources that would take years to replace. But it had accomplished something more valuable than any of that. It had shown the galaxy that humanity would not accept injustice. It had proven that the young species everyone had dismissed as aggressive children were capable of fighting for principles that mattered. It had changed the conversation from, can humanity survive in the galaxy, to what kind of galaxy will we build with humanity in it? Admiral Cross, the Council President said, the Galactic Union has officially upgraded our status from probationary to full membership. They are also requesting that Earth take a permanent seat on the Security Council. Cross was not surprised. After everything that had happened, the Union could not afford to exclude humanity anymore. Too many species were looking to Earth for leadership. Too many voices were demanding change. Do you recommend we accept? The President asked. Cross thought about the 50,000 people who had died at Meridian. She thought about the Talvari slaves she had freed. She thought about the Zarkonian leaders now standing trial. She thought about what humanity had accomplished in 8 weeks that the Union had failed to do in 8 million years. Yes, she said finally. Accept the seat. Take our place at the table. But remember what we learned. The galaxy does not need humanity, to follow their rules. The galaxy needs humanity to remind them why the rules exist in the first place. And if they forget, Admiral Cross smiled, the same smile she had worn when facing down the Zarkonian fleet, the same smile she had shown Chancellor Vorn, the smile of someone who knew exactly what humanity was capable of when pushed. Then we remind them again, as many times as it takes. The Council voted to accept. Earth took its seat on the Galactic Security Council, and across the galaxy, species that had suffered in silence for millions of years began to find their voices. The old order was dying. Something new was being born, and at the heart of it all was a simple idea, one that humans had carried with them from Earth to the stars, one that no amount of ancient tradition or diplomatic procedure could suppress. Some things are worth fighting for. Justice is not negotiable, and when someone threatens the innocent, you do not wait for permission to act. You get warmed up, and then you show them exactly what humanity means. That's the end of this incredible HFY story. If you loved seeing humanity stand up for what's right, smash that subscribe button for more amazing stories. Give this video a like if you want more content like this, and share it with anyone who loves science fiction. Comment below what you'd like to see humanity face next in the galaxy. What did you think of Admiral Cross's decision? Let us know in the comments.